the TSN network. Suits, we didn't get the gig.
I'd love to have that gig. Nice.
So after the missed 40-yarder, Kevin Glenn back to the air and looking downfield. B.J. Cunningham can't bring it down against former Alouette Mitchell White, but a flag is thrown.
I'm wondering if this is offensive because it looked like B.J. Cunningham gave him a little push just as he went to turn back to the football.
Ottawa, number 21. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
They're going to call Mitchell White on defensive pass interference. We'll see if Jim Pop will challenge this. I saw a little push from B.J. Cunningham. There's our two principals, and down the field, watch Cunningham with the right hand push there, and then the turn.
33-yard penalty.
No challenge from Rick Campbell.
Here's Laux. And Corbin Laux taken down by the new strong side linebacker Nick Taylor. And let's set that Ottawa defense for you.
Zach Evans is leader in the defensive line in the sack department. He's got 5. Good season for Zach Evans. Started Damaso Munoz. The linebacking core leads the team in tackles. And the two veterans that played in the Grey Cup last year, Abdul Kanay and Jermaine Robinson, anchor that secondary.
We're told that Jarrell Gavins is close. David Hines released. And Boyette in his spot. There's Nick Lewis, the second down guy, and he has another second down conversion catch. Let's watch that matchup against Nick Taylor because he bumped Antoine Pruneau from the lineup a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, you know, sometimes we say, hey, you want to get offensively big on big, which is your big lineman on their big lineman on defense. This is big on little. You got big Nick Lewis playing against Nick Taylor tonight. 5'10", 165. Taylor's a DB, basically converted. And Nick Lewis is in an offensive lineman's body running fast.
If you believe the players' weights that are listed, there's a 75-pound differential. It might be closer to a 100-pound differential. Lewis with his 58th catch of the year. And looking for Nick again. And the ball popped out on the contact there. Let's see if they rule a catch. It actually is no gain anyway. 2nd and 10 regardless.
Had a talk with Rick Campbell about their last game, and Antoine Pruneau had trouble covering Nick Lewis in that game. Pruneau not starting tonight, but will have play packages. Rick Campbell said it had nothing to do with that game. He loves Antoine Pruneau, great football player. He'll be involved on defense a ton tonight. That matchup was Nick Lewis, but Nick Lewis has made a lot of players miss tackles.
2nd and 10, and a jump there from Connor Williams. Was he drawn by the right tackle, Jeff Parrott?
Procedure. Montreal, number 54. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
And it does go against the Alouettes and the 9-year veteran all-star Jeff Parrott.
Yeah, I think when Nick Lewis signed in Montreal, I think most people thought, you know, if Nick Lewis can chip in and get him 600, be a mentor for the young guys and stuff like that, that would be good and a great signing for Montreal. He's been much more than that. I mean, Nick Lewis is on pace for his 10,000-yard season. He's not chipping away.
So 2nd and 15. Glenn steps up. He's going to take off. And a feet-first slide at around the 47, which will be well short of the first down.
A good coverage downfield. Mitchell White was in man-to-man on Corbin Laux, who was trying to run a post. I think that's where Glenn wanted to go with the football. But because of the coverage in the back end, decided to take off and run with it.
So Jim Pop sends Anthony Farah out to punt and look for the corner and a pin with Tristan Jackson back. Excuse me, Chris Williams also back there along with Jackson. And Jackson lets it bounce over his head. Is it going to reach the end zone? It will. And so the single point. Rouge conceded by Jackson. Not what Farrell was looking for. Puts the Alouettes on the board. 3-1. Redblacks lead. The push heard across Canada after a terrific catch by Duron Carter. You know the rest. But finally this week, the suspension was upheld. And with more on Duron Carter not being in the lineup tonight, Here's John Liu.
Well, thank you, Chris. And Duron Carter, because of his suspension, is not allowed to be here at Molson Stadium also. And in addition to the hit to his wallet, Carter says the toughest part about missing this game is that he's hurting his team by being suspended. However, as a result of this experience, he says that he's learned a lesson about making better choices in order to benefit his team moving forward. And it's a funny thing about the two sides of the coin that is notoriety. In Ottawa, of course, Carter is public enemy number one. But here in Montreal, he says he is now recognized wherever he goes since the bumping incident, whereas before he was moving around the town anonymously. Guys?
Rick Campbell didn't want to make any reference to it yesterday. Here's Trevor Harris, wide open Ernest Jackson at the Alouette 40-yard line, and still trying to slide away. Chip Cox brings him to the turf, but that's a 41-yard gain for Ernest Jackson.
Yeah, I think Duron Carter's become a better player since the incident, and he'll serve his suspension and move on. And what a play here by Trevor Harris to get things going for this Ottawa Redblack team on this drive and try and take advantage of this one with a major. It's amazing how many times a big play happens when the quarterback buys some time.
30th big offensive play of the year for Ottawa. Harris for Williams. He's got it, and they're ruling incomplete. Did he get a foot down? Chris Williams is pointing to that sideline, but it is ruled incomplete.
I think his foot was out of bounds when he made the catch. It's the right foot. Now the ball's in his hand, and that foot's out of bounds. Good call by the official on the spot. I'm just amazed that Chris Williams, I shouldn't be, because he's tremendously fast, but that he ran down that ball. I thought that was too far, and it was an overthrow.
2nd and 10, and the ball didn't come out cleanly, and looks like it's going to be a procedure call against Ottawa. Montreal is
Procedure. Ottawa, number 63. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
It's on the center, John Gott. I was going to say Montreal, second fewest big plays allowed this season, but that's the 10th out of 18 that Rick Campbell's offense has put on the Alouettes defense. So Ottawa has had some success in the explosion plays against Jim Pop's group.
Yeah, but this Montreal team, best team in the league in red zone defense as well. And they're showing that again tonight.
Yes, they have. 2nd and 15. There's a slant to Williams with the catch. He'll be short of the first down at the Montreal 26. And that field goal unit will be called upon again for the 3rd time in this first quarter. And Chris Williams with 5 catches in the opening quarter.
Well, I have yet to see. I mean, there are obviously the big games from Chris Williams and some that he doesn't get to that 100-yard mark. But I've yet to see a corner in the league completely lock him down. It just can't be done. At least I haven't seen it yet. I know I just inspired some corners across the board, too.
They got you 33-yarder from Milo. He's back on target. And Ottawa has a 6-1 lead at the end of the opening quarter here in the rubber match between these two Eastern Division rivals. Field position squarely in Trevor Harris's corner in that first quarter. Got an interception from John Boyette. Some big offense from Chris Williams, but that Montreal defense, tough, stout in the first quarter. Against an Ottawa team that had great field position and the football for over 10 minutes.
Yeah, Ottawa's average starting field position that first quarter was right around midfield, and for Montreal it was on their own 25, so big difference there. But the Alouettes defense, again, mentioned number 1 in the league in their red zone defense. They just don't allow majors, and Ottawa's got to take advantage in this second quarter of those opportunities.
It is a veteran group, and they kept Montreal in a lot of football games this year. But they're going to have to find a way to shut down Chris Williams. That's 17 catches in 9 quarters against the Owls this year.
Again, I haven't seen a corner that's been able to lock him down. You just have to respect his speed. So we'll see if Montreal maybe rolls coverage to him and tries to double team him. But then again, Ottawa can counter that by moving Chris Williams into different spots on the field.
This time the Alouettes opt to receive the kickoff from Zach Medeiros. Short kick, and on the run, it's Logan who fumbles it, and it falls out of bounds at the Ottawa bench beyond the 30.
Last time these two teams met, big game for Kevin Glenn, and he can get hot. When Kevin Glenn is on, he's as good as any quarterback in the league. 25 of 30, almost 400 yards, and threw 5 touchdown passes. Now, we don't talk a lot about the quarterback efficiency rating because, quite frankly, it's just a lot of math and I get lost. But the bottom line is he was perfect on the night. He can get on a roll.
6 offensive touchdowns in that game for the Alouettes, matching a CFL high. Louts in motion as they start at the 26. Here's Terrell Sutton, the leading rusher in the league last year, in his second game back off the 6-game DL and a short gain there.
Went and talked to Jeff Parrott before the game. Just sat down on the bench well before, a couple hours before, and Parrott, I asked him, I said, so, you know, you like to get Terrell Sutton back? Oh, yeah. We love having Terrell back there and his first comment was he picks up blitzes nicely. And I think that's probably because everyone thinks it's O-line when the quarterback gets hit on a blitz. Sometimes that tailback's got responsibility as well.
Couple for Sutton, 2nd and 8. He releases, they go the other way, and the pass too high for Jaguar. Quick 2 and out for Glenn and the Alouettes.
Yeah, I think Glenn saw the coverage over there and deliberately threw it over Jaguar's head. If not, it may have gone the other direction. Timing so important on that wide field out. If you don't throw that ball on time, it's going the other way.
So fair and a punt after the first 2 and out of the night. And that one will bounce out at the Alouette bench. No return for Tristan Jackson. Thursday night football from Montreal, and so far the star's been Chris Williams. Tough guy to catch. Tough guy to stop. 5 catches already tonight.
To cover because he's got the great speed down at the bottom here. Little out, you got to give him room. So then the Alouettes again at the bottom, giving him room. So they decide to get up and get a little tighter on Chris Williams, and then he goes right by him. Now Trevor Harris didn't throw it to him on that play, but then they give him more room the next time on this bang route, almost scores. Now you give Montreal credit for just allowing field goal attempts, but Chris Williams eating them up right now.
Brad Sinopoli with that swing pass for 5, but Chris Williams now 42 yards away from becoming the first receiver this season to hit the 1,000-yard mark. Of course, a few this weekend will get the opportunity in their 10th game, but Williams could get there first. 2nd down, and look out, it did get to Jackson. And Ernest Jackson has the catch and a first down, and Javon Johnson looked skyward. He thought he had a pick 6.
See if Ernest Jackson can find the end zone tonight. If he can, that'll be 5 straight games with a touchdown for number 9. Big, thick possession receiver that can also beat you deep, and he breaks that first tackle to get some yak yards.
17 for Jackson. Fake to Trayvon Van. Look out, Brad Sinopoli is smothered by Jonathan Mincy on the corner.
Go back to that last play. I want to show you Chris Williams and what he can do to Ethan Davis and what he makes. This is the chair I'm talking about for Ethan Davis. His back pedal position and his speed. Now watch how he's going to make Davis turn and get out of his chair. He gets up and out and makes him turn to go deep just like that. Now the ball goes to Ernest Jackson on that play, but that's what he does to DBs.
See if he does it this time on a passing situation. 2nd and 9. Pressure on. Underneath. Catch is not made. Khalil Payton couldn't hang on.
That wasn't necessarily about Payton's hands. It was more about just him not gearing down as he made his break. He needed to gear down just kind of in this little zone right here and gear down. He came across and went too hard into the middle. And then he forced it into a really tough catch. See, if he gears down right on the numbers there, that ball hits him between the 1 and the 3. That ball was thrown by Trevor Harris right where it was supposed to be.
First punt of the game for Medeiros. Looks for the corner. Logan back there from the 7. And angled out. 40-yard punt into the corner. And the Alouettes will start deep in their own territory when we come back.
The middle is the hole the quarterback wants to hit? That'll be an interesting one.
Alouettes in a bit of a hole here, starting at their 13, handing it off. Terrell Sutton off the edge. And there's good first down production, and he ran over John Boyd to get a first down.
First down production, and for Sutton, it's that extra that may just lift his offensive team as a whole. It's that hit and becoming the hammer as he gets outside and sees contact coming, turned into it. And he takes on his man in a big way. That's John Boyette. Wow, that gets you going. It's the blood flowing a little bit. Anthony Calvillo like that one. Let's go back to Terrell Sutton.
Jim Popp mentioned yesterday that despite being 7th on the run, he thinks they can be a productive run team in the second half of the season. First down and straight ahead, Sutton up to the 33-yard line, and that's 8 more. Good misdirection with Logan in motion.
Got a chance before the game to talk to Mark Nelson, and Mark, the defensive coordinator for the Ottawa Redblacks, actually is talking to Terrell Sutton at the time, and they used to live here in Montreal on the same floor in the same building. He was coaching here in Montreal earlier in his career. Said Terrell Sutton, one of the great players and great people you'll meet.
2nd and 2, and the quick hitter falls incomplete. Intended for Kenny Stafford.
Well, that one hurts. That one hurts. That hurts the momentum, and it hurts, you know, this team trying to get back and get some momentum going. I mean, this is 2nd and 2, and Terrell Sutton has just run a couple of back-to-back great plays. A little surprised that Ace Anthony Calvillo didn't go back to him. Go and pound it up there for 2 yards and keep the chains going.
Just 21 yards of passing offense for Kevin Glenn. 4 for 7 in this first half. Rain starting to fall here a little earlier than anticipated. Fair to punt. Kristen Jackson from the 29-yard line. May have some room to the outside, and he does, but flags are flying as Jackson picks his way down to the Alouette 45, but a couple of flags on the play. Man, this
During the return,
coming back.
illegal block, Ottawa, number 33. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Dan West, the illegal block, brings it back into Ottawa territory, and we'll head to the sidelines. Here's John Lou.
Well, thank you, Chris. And with the recent switch in starting quarterbacks for the Ottawa Redblacks, the temptation would be to believe that this is Trevor Harris's team. But he and the Redblacks say that they do not subscribe to that theory. Harris says that this team, more than any other that he's ever played for, lives by the philosophy of fighting for each other more than fighting their opponents. And it's a concept that was crystallized and driven home for Harris when last offseason he read the book Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. Guys?
Get up there, team game, team approach, and trying to keep the lid on any quarterback controversy that would seem natural with two guys that are as talented as these two.
Well, you take a look at them and compare the stats. 5 starts for Harris, 4 for Henry Burris, almost the same. Completion percentage better for Harris. I think maybe the biggest one, and you can make an argument that either one of these guys should be starting here. You can make the argument for Burris, you can make it for Trevor Harris, but those explosive plays, big difference there.
Big Devan, and now down the sidelines, and Williams with the catch, but out of bounds. Second time that's happened in the game, and the Ottawa punt team has to come on.
Yeah, they've been just off on those big plays down the field, but Harris will get back on track there with his #1 receiver in Chris Williams. So it's 17 30 or more yard passing plays for Trevor Harris. Boy, statistically, how do you not start him when you see those kind of numbers? Although I could make an argument for last year's MOP starting for this team as well in Henry Burris.
Rain picking up. We'll see if that becomes a factor in handling of the football. Medeiros a short kick. And a couple of hops for Logan. Spins to the far side of the field. And nothing available there as Scott McDonnell, the Queens product, tosses him out. But there's going to be a flag on the play. Penalties already adding up for the Redblacks in this first half.
What happened?